Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new episode of Formula 1 2019 Career Mode. We have just 2 races left in our rookie season. Today we go to Brazil for obviously the Brazilian Grand Prix. We've had a rough go lately at this career mode. The last, I think, 4 races we've been outside of the points. Last episode in the USA we had a DNF, so that was very unfortunate. The weather conditions were really frustrating with how the tire compound was matching up with it, and it just didn't fit into me at all, and it went terribly wrong. So we come through into qualifying, and we've struggled in qualifying. We've struggled in the races recently. We're starting to fall just a tiny bit behind in the R&D, but we would actually make it into Q3 for today's qualifying effort. So that was certainly a step in the right direction. A boost of confidence is what I thought I had needed. So like I said, we got to Q3. As you're going to see at the end of my Q3 lap here, this is just going down into the final corner. At this point, it was Valtteri Bottas on the pole. Obviously, Lewis Hamilton already won the championship multiple episodes ago. So we're coming through down the front straightaway at this point, hoping to get something maybe better than P10, but we would come through to cross the line and go P8 for the moment. But obviously, you see Sebastian Vettel behind me. You know that's not going to stick. So we come through to sim the rest of the session, and we would drop down to P10 for the start of this Grand Prix. So let's get to it here in Brazil for the penultimate race of our rookie season.
Where there's a will, well, there's a way. And nowhere has that fact been better demonstrated over the years than here at Interlagos. Remember Senna winning while fighting a gearbox that was jammed in 6th? 5 Drivers' Championship deciders in a row between 2005 and 2009. And of course, the passionate Brazilian fans packing the grandstands to capacity every year. And they're not about to stop now. Interlagos, always a very special race here in Brazil. It's a 2.7 mile circuit with 9 lefts and 6 rights for a total of 15 corners. The fastest lap today should have an average speed of around 135 miles per hour, if of course the weather stays dry until the end of the Grand Prix. Anthony Davidson is alongside me as usual for the race today. Now I want to ask you about Lewis Hamilton. That was a great win in the last race. Can they keep that momentum going this weekend?
There are never any guarantees in this business, but certainly the performance last time out would have boosted their confidence coming into this one.
It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. Good job yesterday from Valtteri Bottas. The Finn starts from pole position and Lewis Hamilton completes the front row. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Verstappen, Gasly, Charles Leclerc and Vettel, Perez, Weber, Butler and the Rainmaster, Grosjean, Magnussen, Daniel Ricciardo and Russell. Kubica, Raikkonen, Antonio Giovinazzi. They've taken a grid penalty. And Carlos Sainz. Kvyat and Alexander Albon picks up the last spot on the grid. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track.
We're in a great position to improve on our results from the last race. Let's make it happen.
Alright, there you have it now. It's going to be a one-stop strategy here from the soft tire to the hard tire. We have rain coming at the end of this race, so that could play a factor in how this finishing result is going to be as we get ready to go off the grid here for the formation lap behind our former rival of Devin Butler right now as we would come back towards the grid. There you see behind us we can have our teammate Roman Grosjean. So we only beat our teammate Grosjean here by 1 spot in qualifying as we get ready now on the grid here to go green for the Brazilian Grand Prix. It's Valtteri Bottas leading the way. It's lights out and we are underway here for the Brazilian Grand Prix. Bottas moves over and makes sure he covers off Lewis Hamilton as we go down through turns 1 and turns 2. It's Bottas, Hamilton, then we got Max Verstappen in 3rd, and then it's the Ferrari of, I believe, Vettel and Gasly battling it out now as you head down this straightaway as we continue to run P10. We actually didn't lose any positions, but our teammate Roman Grosjean is up our outside now as we go through down into this corner. A little bit of a lockup. I was having this issue early on in this race where I was locking up the left front quite a bit, but I would end up turning the brake bias down a little bit, and that helped quite a bit now as we come through towards this one of my favorite sections of any course on the schedule now, as I just love this second sector here in Brazil as we come through this left-hander behind Devin Butler. Vettel is actually the one, so Leclerc was the one battling with Gasly. Vettel is the worst Ferrari right now, as we have Perez in the racing point with his teammate Lucas Weber right behind him, as they seem to be actually having some pretty good pace this weekend. They are ahead of us now in the R&D. Racing Point is now the 4th best team on the R&D as we come into the Brazilian Grand Prix. So maybe we need to watch out for them today now as we come through down this front straightaway, approaching the completion of the first lap here in Brazil, closing in on Devin Butler as we go down towards turns 1, putting the ERS back down to medium. Today, just the car felt good here in Brazil, and we hadn't felt that in quite a while. It's been, like I said, it's been a good bit since we have felt a good handling car, and it was certainly showing as we come through now on lap 3 with DRS enabled. We have a chance to get past Devin Butler as we put it in overtake on the ERS. Now we're going to look to the left-hand side by side with our rival from Formula 2, Devin Butler. We have a little bit of a lockup, but we complete the pass, and now we move up into the 9th position in front of Devin Butler now as we go down towards these next few corners, and behind him, it's our teammate of Roman Grosjean ready to put on the attack as we come through now on lap 5. We had pulled away from the cars behind us, Devin Butler, Roman Grosjean, everyone else included, as in front of us you see there another lockup as you go down into turns 1 on the left front, but we had the 2 racing points putting a lot of pressure on the Ferrari drivers as the Ferraris were being held up actually by the Red Bull of Pierre Gasly. I wasn't quite sure what was wrong with Gasly as I looked in the replay. I couldn't see anything with his wing, but Jeff didn't tell me about any mechanical issue, so I was assuming that maybe it had to be a mechanical issue Jeff didn't tell me about as we come through now on lap 7. Still, the guys ahead pulling away as we have a ton of oversteer there, but we hang on to the car thankfully. But like I said, the guys ahead still pulling away, but not nearly as quick as you would expect them to, as they were, like I said, being held up by Pierre Gasly. And as they pull away from us, we're pulling away still from the cars behind, which is led by our teammate of Roman Grosjean. So both Haas cars right now in the top 10 as we came through now on lap 9. The Racing Points actually started to overtake some of the Ferraris. We had Perez making a pass on Sebastian Vettel now as we come through on lap 13. Leclerc had fallen down to P8. Both of the Racing Points are now ahead of one of the Ferrari drivers. The Racing Points showing a lot of pace today as we would get ready to make already our first pit stop of this race. Right now on an island of our own, we've been in this position multiple times this season, so we're no stranger to it now as we come through towards the pit lane, getting down to pit road speed. And we've just had so far the first 12 laps and now 13 have gone really well for us. We've not made any stupid, silly mistakes. Nothing has gone wrong, and if we can keep it up, we can finally maybe get some momentum going for us again late in the season as we would throw on the hard tire, obviously, like I said, as this is a one-stop strategy. We know rain is approaching towards the end of this race now as we come through towards the exit of the pit lane here in Brazil, down to P18 at the moment. Carlos Sainz in P17 with the soft tire as we come through, getting sideways. We actually get into the wall just a little bit, getting very lucky to not get damaged there, but like I said, Carlos Sainz in P17, he was having a mechanical issue, and as we came through now on lap 15, we had run him down as some cars had come to the pit lane, so we get back up to P13 now as we approach Carlos Sainz with DRS in our favor. Overtake mode once again on the ERS. We're going to look to the right hand side there of Carlos Sainz as we go down towards the corner, and we complete the pass with no problems at all. So far, everything just going well for us here in the Brazilian Grand Prix. Like I said, it's been a while since we've had a race kind of just go our way. I think it's probably been, since Japan, or the race before Japan in Singapore was our last points finish. So nothing has really gone right since. In Japan, we had an incident on lap 1. USA, we DNF'd. Russia, we had a lot of rain. I was terrible in the rain, and it just hasn't been good. Now it's come through on lap 16. There you see George Russell up ahead, actually DNFing from this race. He was still out on that hard tire. He hadn't made his pit stop yet, but now he's not going to get to make any pit stops as he is out of this race. As we would cycle through back up into the 9th position, obviously, as we came through now on lap 20. Pierre Gasly actually on the medium tire up in P8 ahead of us as the Ferraris had gotten past him, but he was on a softer tire than really everybody, I think, at this point in the top 10. So he was able to put the pressure on the 2 Ferrari drivers, as both Racing Point drivers at this point had passed the Ferraris. So it was actually, now we come through to a few laps later, you got Bottas running P1, Lewis Hamilton 2nd, Max Verstappen 3rd, putting the pressure on them, and then we got the 2 Racing Points 4th and 5th, and then the Ferraris. So we had the top 3 drivers all running nose to tail throughout the first 20 laps of this race, and they continue to run a nose to tail at this point now as we come through on lap 22, heading down towards this corner, obviously way ahead of the cars behind us, and then the cars in front of us are also way ahead of me. So we were on like an island of our own once again, which honestly was kind of nice, because when we're on an island of our own, it almost felt like we were back to what we were doing earlier in the season, and that was being successful with this Haas F1 team as we come through now on lap 24, just 13 laps to go, continuing to run in the 9th position. At this point, though, Kimi Räikkönen had moved up into P10 as we set a personal best lap right there. I knew the rain was coming, so I was trying to get a fast lap in before that would happen. Approaching 11 laps to go, and there you hear Jeff saying rain on the way here within the next few minutes. So we know the rain is very close. As you can see, the conditions, the overcast, the clouds are moving in. So we know the rain is within range now as we come through on lap 28. Less than 10 laps to go here in Brazil as we go down towards the second, or already in the second sector through these few corners. Charles Leclerc still in P8, having a rough go. He is still looking for win number 1 in our career mode. Will he be at Ferrari next season, or will it be us? I think that we've still proven that we should be in a Ferrari car, even though we've had a rough last few races, but hopefully we can impress enough in these last 2 races to get to Ferrari next season. As now we come to lap 29, the rain has started to fall here in Brazil in the final portion of this race. Now as we come through, the right-hander getting a little bit of oversteer, but we hang on to it with no problems at all. That was starting to obviously become a little bit of an issue as we went down into this final corner here now on lap 31. A little bit more of oversteer on the exit of the corner. Devin Butler had actually moved up into the 10th position now as we come through down this front straightaway, approaching the 32nd lap as we're about 12 seconds ahead of 10th place of Devin Butler at this point now as we come through on lap 33. A lot of oversteer again, and this time we're sliding through the grass, but we keep control of the car thankfully, and we rejoin the track with no issues at all. Not sure if I would have gotten maybe some type of penalty, I'm not sure. We lost control. We kind of did cut the course, so I don't know exactly how that would have gone in, say, real life. But obviously we keep it straight. Now we come through to just 2 laps to go. The conditions worsening at this point. Devin Butler bringing some cars behind him with him as they're closing the gap on me now as we're dealing with a lot of oversteer as we would come through now to the final lap of the Brazilian Grand Prix, and they continue to close in on me as we're continuing to deal with this oversteer throughout these final few laps here in the Brazilian Grand Prix. Out on this hard tire, 23 seconds to 8th place of Charles Leclerc. So obviously we're not going to get anywhere near them now as we come through just trying to manage the car through these final couple sectors here in the Brazilian Grand Prix. Max Verstappen, I must mention, actually took the lead here in Brazil and was leading the way on this final lap, and sure enough, Max Verstappen would come through to get his first win of the season here in our rookie season. So Verstappen finally picking up the victory. It took him a while now as he come through dealing with that oversteer now as the car was just driving like trash obviously at this point. But that does not matter as we only have a few corners to go here. We haven't gotten points since Singapore. Now as we come through into the final corner, past the penultimate corner with no issue now, through this final corner on the exit, and we keep it relatively clean. DRS disabled on this final lap here in the Brazilian Grand Prix. Obviously that does not matter now as we head down this front straightaway for the final time here in Brazil. Finally, we are going to get points again here after not getting any since Singapore.
Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
Red Bull pulling out all the stops today. What a great win. Talk to me, Ants. What was it that set them apart from the competition today?
Well, I know it's a bit of a boring answer, but the truth is they simply had the best speed package on the day, and a driver who knows how to take advantage of that. It doesn't matter how much time you spend poring over the stats and planning strategies if you can't keep the pace, and our winner today showed they could do both.
Red Bull are our winners today after showcasing some incredible driving. There's been a huge push from them lately to stay competitive with the other teams, and they're certainly proving themselves. Today,
Certainly feels awesome to get some more points again. Our teammate Roman Grosjean down there in the 12th position. Not a great effort, but not really a bad effort for him either there, as George Russell finishes last, obviously, with the DNF. Lewis Hamilton second. Bottas, the pole sitter, got P3 as Verstappen was able to steal the victory. Both Ferrari 7th and 8th. Racing Point was just great today. They had a 4th and a 6th. We had Perez up there in 4th, and then it was Weber 6th. Gasly managed to get P5 there, as you see the point standings on your screen. Haas down to 5th. As the thing is said, we were still 9th in the standings. Perez is the next guy ahead of us. Sure enough, there you see. So we got some work to do to get to Perez with only one race left. I don't even know if we're close enough. Obviously, we can only get 25 points if we win. We're not going to win in a Haas car, which could be our final ride or race, our final race potentially at Abu Dhabi with Haas. We might be switching to Ferrari for the next season. It might need some convincing for Ferrari to pick us up, because obviously we haven't impressed them enough this season, so hopefully we can maybe convince them at the end of Abu Dhabi to go to Ferrari. But that will do it for this episode, so thank you all for taking the time out of your day to watch it, and I will see you guys for the season finale in Abu Dhabi. Thank you for watching, everybody, and have yourselves a great day.